Welcome back to another episode of NBA by Jellyman, episode 11. We've got a very special episode today, so not the usual. That will come most likely tomorrow, so obviously being recorded on Christmas Day, Sunday the 25th of December. We've got a special edition for the Christmas Day games in America, Boxing Day games for us here in Australia. So we're going to cover off the 5 topics, so the 76ers at the New York Knicks, the LA Lakers playing the Dallas Mavericks, Milwaukee Bucks at the Boston Celtics, the Grizzlies at the Warriors, and then the Suns at the Nuggets. So we'll cover off the odds. So, we'll compare the pair between Sportsbet and Bet365, the ones that we use, obviously the current line, and then give a bit of insight into the recent history, both on, the 76ers, how many games they've won in a row, at home, away, how they go. The Knicks, similar, and then also some points, and then what we're thinking for that game, what we're sort of going with, as well as throwing in there a free recommendation as well. Along with talking about, the stars, total points, all that sort of jazz anyway. But look, we'll crack straight into it here. Got the Philadelphia 76ers at the New York Knicks. The odds of 76ers are 174 on Sportsbet. But then if you want to go with the Knicks, they're actually higher odds on Bet365. So the 76ers higher odds on Sportsbet, and then the Knicks 220 on Bet365. The line is minus 2.5 currently. The Knicks plus 2.5. Both teams look like they've got their lineups pretty much sorted in that one as well. The inside on that side is the 76ers. They've won their last 7 games, but all of them have been at home. Obviously this one on the road in New York at Madison Square Garden. But then they've lost their last 3 games on the road to the Rockets, Grizzlies, and the Cavs. The Knicks have actually lost their last 2 games, with them both being at home, playing against Toronto. And then also they lost to the Bulls. They should have won that one, but didn't. And then these sides actually, that was also after the Knicks have won 8 straight games. So the last 2 games for the Knicks, best way to say it is they went to more individual ball, and also playing at home affects them as well because teams come into Madison Square Garden wanting to play well. Players come into Madison Square Garden wanting to play well, whereas they go on the road, they're a lot of the time the underdog. So, there's not much pressure on them playing at home, playing away compared to that as at home. These sides also played off on the 5th of November in Philadelphia. The Knicks actually won that one 106-104, but the Sixers didn't have Embiid or Harden, while the Knicks did have a full squad. So use that, take that as you may. But an analysis on this one is we like the 76ers head-to-head. They haven't been consistent on the road all season, but they haven't had Harden and Embiid playing together. So the last few games, or that home stretch that they've had with that 7 wins, they've been playing well together. Also, they're both traveling into Madison Square Garden on Christmas Day. They're both loving the big show. It's a recipe for them to absolutely dominate. Obviously, the Knicks, they've got a good side with Brunson, Barrett, and Randall. But as we said, them at home and watching their last game against the Bulls, Barrett was hot, but they kept on going to them. And rather playing team offense, they sort of got stuck in that 1v1 ball, which sort of left them where they were. Ended up losing, obviously, on the buzzer with DeRozan making that shot and then making a free throw, missing a free throw as well. But them getting the win there. And the total points in this one are sitting at 217.5. So that's where the line's set currently. The points for 109.5 for the Sixers, 108.5 for the Knicks. The Sixers have actually scored 113 plus points in 7 of the last 8 games. The Knicks have allowed 113 plus points in their last 2 games, resulting in losses. And the Knicks have scored 109 plus points in 8 of their last 9 games as well. Our analysis on this one is we'll actually be staying away from the total points over-under. 2 reasons. One, because it's an early game. And what we've noticed, I guess, this season and also last season is with early games, it goes one or 2 ways. There's no landing in the middle. So it's either a tough fought defensive game where there's not a lot of points scored, or the opposite way, there's no defense being played and easy buckets are made. Because of those early games, guys get out of rhythm. It's different for them. They usually play at a 7 p.m. time slot. To give you an idea, playing at that earlier time slot, it's about 3 p.m. in the afternoon. So some guys don't get a nap, some guys change their routine, all that sort of stuff. It actually settles them off a bit. That's my little touch base on that one. And then looking at the stars for this one, so Embiid, he's had 27 plus points in a lot of games in a row. He's had 26 plus points in a lot of games in a row versus the Knicks. So 7 of his last 9 actually against the Knicks, and 10 plus rebounds in 7 of his last 10 matchups versus the Knicks. Harden, he actually had 16 assists in his last game in Madison Square Garden, and is coming off 21 assists his last game versus the Clippers, and the Clippers are good defensively, so it shows how well he played there with Embiid and the shooters around him also making shots. Randall, 29 points and 30 points in his last 2 games. In a couple of games before that, 25, 19 and 31. But he's had up and down games versus the Sixers in the past. 17 and 10 in his last game, 24 and 6, 16 and 10, 31 and 12 points and rebounds there. RJ Barrett, as we mentioned, coming off 44 points. He's actually scored quite well against the Sixers, 22, 30 and 24. So he, in his last few games, he's actually had 24 plus points in 4 of his last 5 games as well this season. So he's scoring well, so having a look at his points over. Then Brunson's coming off 2 quiet games, so 12 points and 7 points. He often likes to bounce back. He's actually had 23, 24 and 19 points against the Sixers in his last 3 matchups. The Philadelphia 76ers didn't play last season in the Christmas Day game, but the Knicks did. The Knicks, if I can speak properly, the Knicks actually beat the Hawks in that earlier game, 101-87 last season. The first half was actually 61-51, but then the second half was 40-36. Obviously, the Knicks won. The Knicks got the win in that one, but quite a defensively heavy-minded game there, as we said, that earlier time slot for those guys as well. But that's, I guess, our sort of, last but not least for that topic, our best bet for that one is James Harden. So James Harden, 14 plus assists at 560 on Sportsbet for 1 unit. Harden's coming off a career night with 21 assists, as we mentioned, also 16 assists in his last game in Madison Square Garden. So looking at Harden's assist over, also DeRozan had 10 assists in the last game versus the Knicks, and obviously we know DeRozan's mainly a scorer, so him to get 10 plus assists, that's where the Knicks are at defensively, and allowing the main guys who handle the ball to make plays for others. But that is topic 1, so that's the Sixers against the Knicks in Madison Square Garden, first game of the day. Topic 2 is the LA Lakers versus the Dallas Mavericks. So we'll jump in here. So we have the LA Lakers paying, if it's going to come up for me. The LA Lakers are paying $370 head-to-head on Bet365, while the Dallas Mavericks are paying $129. Up on Sportsbet, it's shown at the Lakers $378, so a bit more value there. And the Dallas Mavericks $127. So, if you're going the head-to-head, looking at Bet365. If you're going to the Lakers, obviously looking at Sportsbet. But it's a good thing to note on Bet365, they do the 20 points up payout. So there's a bit of value there. The line's sitting at -8 on Bet365, but then -8.5 on Sportsbet. So $195 for the Dallas Mavericks, $186 for the +8.5 of the LA Lakers. And then the total over-under is sitting at 230.5. Now, looking at both teams' last few games, the LA Lakers have allowed 130 plus points in their last 3 games, in their last 3 losses, whereas the Dallas Mavericks are hardly scoring or letting scores come in, and that's on the road. So looking at both those teams, going, what's the best? I'd be staying away from the total points over under, and I'd be having a look at Dallas's line. But they're also coming off a road trip. So what we like in that one is like a Dallas, and then combining with maybe a player prop in that one as well. So the player props on that note are looking like, so LeBron scored 30 plus points in his last 6 games, but he hasn't been rebounding the ball specifically well over the last 3 games. He's been leaving it to others, but he's also had 8 plus assists in 4 of his last 5 games. And then against Dallas, he's 26 and 12, 24 points, 22, 7 and 10, 35, 16 and 7 points, rebounds and assists. Luka's coming off a 50-point night in Houston, so 58 and 10. And against the Lakers, he's had 34, 25, 18, 30, 27, 25 there. But with the way the Lakers are defending, you're looking at Luka potentially scoring a lot of points in that one. Obviously, Christmas Day game, as per usual. They actually lost last year to the Jazz as well. So looking at Dallas Mavericks probably head-to-head, along with something with Luka in as well. Our favourite one, or our best bet of the day for this one's actually LeBron and Luka, 30 plus points apiece, paying $270 on Sportsbet for 1.5 units. Both players obviously coming off big games, LeBron 30 plus and 6 as we mentioned. But also LeBron in Dallas, 24 points, but 35 and 39 points. So no Davis tomorrow for him. When we're recording this, obviously being a Sunday. But then looking at also Luka, 50 points, 25, 19, 33 and 30 points as well, but 34 points in his last matchup versus the Lakers, and he loves going head-to-head with LeBron. And there is no paint protection for either squad in this one. I mean, Powell does a little bit, but a lot of it is perimeter defense, so there's a lot of lanes to the hoop for both players in this one tomorrow. Moving on, we've got the Milwaukee Bucks at the Boston Celtics. So the Milwaukee Bucks are paying $270, and the Boston Celtics into $150. The line's now at -5, +5. That's on Bet365. If we have a look at Sportsbet, it's sitting at $269 for the Bucks, head-to-head, $147 for the Celtics. So if you're looking to take the Celtics head-to-head, I'd be taking it on Bet365. And the total over-under is 224.5. But the line for the Celtics is -4.5 on Sportsbet, and then +4.5, 197 for the Milwaukee Bucks there. Looking at this one, they played off last season in the Christmas Day game. The Bucks actually won 117 to 113, but that was in Milwaukee. Tatum had 25 points, 9 rebounds. Brown, 25 points. Smart, 19 points. Giannis, 36 points, 12 and 5. Holiday, 17 points. The Bucks have actually lost 4 of their last 5 games on the road. So Brooklyn, Cleveland, Memphis and Houston, all losses. New Orleans was a win. And then the Celtics, quickly touching on the Bucks, it's been everyone else struggling to score. So Giannis has been playing well of late, but it's the players around him, like Holiday hasn't been playing well. Middleton's obviously been out. And then the other shooters for the Milwaukee Bucks haven't been scoring as well as they usually do at home. So that's been the fault of the Bucks while they're on the road across their last few games. The Celtics have actually lost 5 of their last 7 games, but obviously got a win last game against the Wolves to hopefully snap that home streak of 4 straight losses, 121 to 109. And their losses included Indiana, Orlando twice, the Clippers and Golden State. The Clippers and Golden State were on the road. Orlando twice there, and then Indiana, maybe they just didn't show up mentally. Maybe there's a few other things going on, who knows. And they've actually lost 4 of their last 5 games at home. With all that being said, the Boston Celtics did beat the Milwaukee Bucks in the playoffs last season, so they hold that over them, and them actually across the court against the Bucks match up really well and can score really well. They're actually probably Milwaukee's kryptonite. The reason why Milwaukee changed their defense this season was because of the Celtics scoring all those threes against them. So we'll see next game. We obviously like the Celtics line in this one, but we'll see next game how the Bucks actually defend the Celtics 3-point. Do they give them the hoop? Do they defend them across the whole court, or what do they do there? It'll be very interesting to see, but it'll come down at the end of the day, can other people other than Giannis score the ball down the other end? Because the Celtics have been giving up points, so there's opportunities there. But as we've said, we do like the Celtics in this one. Moving on to the next game, which is we've got the Memphis Grizzlies at the Golden State Warriors. So the Grizzlies 20-11 and 7-9 on the road. They actually beat the Suns last game 125 to 100, and that was actually in Phoenix as well. The Grizzlies are paying 140, the Golden State Warriors 305. The line's sitting at -6.5. The over-under is at 229. There, I'd be staying away from the over-under just due to it could be a blowout in Golden State. As we've seen, the Warriors were on the road and they had been losing a lot of games by big margins. But even coming back home, the squad they have and then the squad the Grizzlies are bringing in, it could be very dangerous for the Warriors being at home on Christmas Day. It could be quite a big blowout. So we do like the Grizzlies in this one. We're staying away, or we do say we're staying away, but we do like Ja Morant to have 10 plus assists. So that's one of our favourites as well. And then sort of looking at that one, but we also like the Grizzlies line as well. What else have we got in there? So Jordan Poole at home has had 20, 23, 21, 30 and 19. So as I said, we're staying away from player props, but there are some player props there potentially for the Warriors, points scoring, as well as the other guys other than Ja scoring. Morant has had 10 plus assists in 5 of his last 6 games. So He's obviously passed the ball quite well. Obviously, Bane came back as well last game in limited minutes, still had 17 points, actually had more points than Morant, but Morant's obviously passed the ball. One of the things that we did note down about this one is the lob threats and seeing them how they battled the Suns and getting those easy lobs from Morant to Clark, from Morant to Jackson, from Morant to Adams. It was super impressive getting in behind Ayton, Boyombo, Bismack, and then I'm pretty sure they'll be able to do the same to Looney tomorrow against the Warriors anyway. Last game of the run, so as I said, just a quick one. It's the Phoenix Suns at the Denver Nuggets. The Suns are 19-14, 5-9 on the road. They lost to the Grizzlies last game, as we mentioned, 100-125, and it was at home as well. But without Devin Booker, he is questionable in this one, so it's 50-50 at the moment. But even playing the Nuggets, who are full strength and looking really good at home, they're 20-11 and 11-3 at home, and they beat the Blazers 120-107 and didn't break it. Didn't look like they broke a sweat. The Nuggets are minus 3.5 in this one, which is massive value, we believe. Head to head, they're 158, and the Suns are 250 as well. So as I said, we like the Nuggets minus 3.5 in this one. And then also looking at Jokic assists, he did assist without a triple-double last game with only 8 rebounds. Chased him close to the end but didn't get it, but his assists have been up there every game, especially with Porter Jr. back and Murray scoring well, and then also Gordon down in the block. We mentioned the other week about Gordon getting in behind the defense and how that's been working well for the Nuggets. But that is all for tomorrow's game. So as I said, a quick one, but it gives you a bit of an overview about sort of what we're looking at tomorrow and sort of who we're backing in across the day. If you look at a multi between all those guys that we mentioned, so that's the Sixers, the Mavericks, the Celtics, the Grizzlies, and the Nuggets, all favourites actually. 755 on Bet365 is quite a good odd. Or if you're looking at maybe the line for the Nuggets, the line for the Grizzlies, head-to-head for the Celtics, head-to-head for the Mavericks, and then the 76ers head-to-head, 12.31 on Bet365. A couple of good little combos there. And looking at also point scorers tomorrow being a showtime game, a showcase game for a lot of these guys. So, LeBron, Giannis, Tatum, Brown, Luka. Then also looking at even Jokic has been scoring well. Jordan Poole for the Warriors. Someone needs to score for the Warriors, so he's there. Joel Embiid, Harden's assists. The Knicks as well with those 3 guys. Looking at all that and combining it potentially together for a nice little juicy multi there. But enjoy the rest of your Christmas day. Whenever you listen to this, even tomorrow morning, feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Thanks, guys.